52 points in 6 races. Can Lando do it? McLaren's already done it. They're leading the Constructors' Championship, Akash. Can Lando do it now?
So I think everything depends that they've had this month break now, and now everything depends on what we're going to see in Austin. And the signs actually look, I don't know, they can look either way. I think that's where, because both Red Bull, both McLaren are coming in with some serious upgrades, and
Yes.
because they both run the risk, if either team doesn't run an upgrade, then someone else runs something, they could get the advantage. The thing is that they're running upgrades to the floor of the car, and when it
Both of
comes to
them.
both of them, and when it comes to the floor of the car, previously when people other teams have made upgrades on the floor of the car, it's been a hit and it's been a miss, even in previous
Complete
seasons.
miss. Yeah.
So we this is a huge gamble played by both teams, and this is where I'm just thinking that, hey, if there's a gamble playing by huge teams, and let's say both of them fail, there's a third team that's just in the corner right
Waiting in
there.
the
That's
wings.
just waiting there. What do you think, man? You think Ferrari got that outside chance to maybe come even
I
second or
think they
maybe
do.
even first?
I think second is a very real possibility with Perez's current form. I know Science has had a bad few races, but we know
Yep.
Science will be very motivated. This is going to be his last chance to win a race or have a race winning car at least for a year. No offense to Williams. And
Yeah.
he's been great for Ferrari, man. You and I, you know our reaction when we found out he's leaving, right? So
Yeah.
I think he has something to prove after the last 2 races. There were comments that Ferrari was actually the best race car in Singapore.
Hmm.
I know the
Yep.
flexi wing didn't work in quali, but I think it's helping them in the race. And
Yep.
they are also bringing a small upgrade. But Frederick was so said clearly that this is a small upgrade, but now we're focusing on next year's car, and I'm sure the other teams are as well.
Yep.
So this is the last roll of the dice. I think Ferrari might be making the right decision to kind of they know they're on an upwards trajectory in the second half. Let's just keep that going. Let's not go for a big gamble that
Yep.
can break the
Yep.
championship.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's just going against their favor is just these next couple races. Barring probably Las Vegas, all of them they're not street circuits, and Ferrari, usually does have some incredible pace on street circuits, and these are the
Correct.
more traditional circuits that we're going to see in the calendar, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be real tough to match the pace of McLaren and Red Bull just from that perspective. But when you're looking at this kind of championship battle, do we think Lando? We were talking about this in the beginning. Do we even think that it's the car that can bring all these upgrades? Do we think Lando's ready to become a world champion?
So do we have Lando 3.0? We had last lap Lando in 2021 and
Yeah.
2022, and that guy sort of got upgraded, but that upgrade was like, that meme that says, go back up. So
Yeah.
he's gone back to his old self. He nearly made some big mistakes in Singapore when he was leading comfortably. But interesting thing is, Helmut Marko has come up with a statement or a dig as usual, because it's Helmut, to say that listen, he has mental weaknesses that will cost him the title, which means are Red Bull admitting that the car, just on the basis of the car, he will win or he can. It's just whether he has the mental capacity to go up against Max.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's also just classic Red Bull. They're trying to attack. I mean, they can do all the upgrades on the car, but now they have to do everything to try to attack Lando and try to question that. Hey, is he in the right mental space to even be ready to be a world champion? Is he ready to even be that next thing? Because honestly, I don't think a lot of people expected this, but before the season started,
Exactly.
that Lando was that first McLaren was going to be challenging for the constructors championship, and Lando has a serious shot at going for this world title, but it's still a little bit far off. I think the drivers championship feels a little bit tougher for them to reach than for them holding the constructors championship, just in my opinion. But look, this is 6 races where it's just going to be pure carnage. I honestly, my prediction is I'm expecting maybe one or maybe 2 races. They might kind of come and collide with each other because they're being a little bit
And
over
there
aggressive.
goes the cloak.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect.
50
Um,
points just there.
exactly, exactly. Well, month break. We talked about Red Bull. We talked about McLaren. All our top teams. But we got a new driver. We have a new driver in the lineup. Liam Lawson replaces Danny Rick. Kind of sad, the whole transition of how it
Yes.
happened and everything like that. But man, Lawson, he's exciting, and he said previously this is going to be a big challenge for him trying to come in, midway
Absolutely.
into the season and trying to establish himself. But from the very
He's
few
done it
races that we,
before.
yeah, from the he came in Singapore last year, killed it, and what do you think? What are the expectations for him? Is it going to be straight away that he's going to have to get points, or are they going to be a little bit lenient on him in the beginning?
I think for the team itself, they might see it as just him settling in for the end of the season and preparing for next season since the cars don't change that much with these regulations. For him personally, I think it's going to be very different because you're talking about a driver who has a shot to become like the first Red Bull driver since maybe Albon stepped up from
Yeah.
Toro Rosso, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of sad because Yuki has done really well. But for some reason, I don't see Yuki getting that push. There is a chance that Yuki could go the Aston Martin route now that, there's a little bit of a Honda backing towards Aston Martin.
Yep.
They're going
Hmm.
for Honda engines. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe Honda can support Yuki that way. So I think Yuki still has a chance coming back to Lawson. He's the main candidate to really step up for Perez's seat.
Yep.
Because we know even if Perez keeps it for maybe in the next year, this is the time to prove it. He
Yep.
has proved it in his shorter stints, but
Hmm.
so did Albon, so did Pierre Gasly. We know what happens at the top.
Yep. Exactly. And keeping that Red Bull seat, I mean, from my perspective, it used to be tough, but maybe based off current performance, it's not as tough as we thought it might be. So that's also something that I don't really understand what's going on in Red Bull with Perez's performance on page. Doesn't really. Maybe there might be some questions about whether or not he truly does deserve that seat, or maybe he should be in an RB seat or something like that.
But
But
there's one
yeah,
guy I'm really looking forward for the next six races. It's Kevin Magnussen Carnage, especially with the two sprint weekends coming. He has
yeah,
nothing to
he's
lose.
completely
He has
cleared with
no
all the
penalty points.
no penalty points. Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna have fun then. Oh, that's but speaking about Haas, man, huge news for Haas F1
Toyota.
World Toyota Gazoo Racing. They have huge stuff that they do in endurance racing and rally car, and now they're finally coming back into F1. This is huge, and I think from
Yes.
they've described it as this is a strategic partnership where they're not going to be touching the engine, maybe not going too much into the chassis, but at least from lot for aerodynamics. And Toyota put it frank. They said in their words that their goal is to make Haas faster. That's it. That's their primary goal.
That's been
And
Haas's objective since 2016,
exactly,
bro.
exactly. And it's going to be interesting because you've got this Haas relationship with Toyota now, but Haas's original relationship with Ferrari is now kind of being put into question a little bit. It's like, what's going to be the future of
Exactly.
this relationship? Still the partnership, and Haas has said that this is going to be, hey, Ferrari's our foundation. We're still trusting everything in Ferrari, but I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? Like, how are you going to balance this relationship between Ferrari and Toyota now?
See, there's two aspects to this, right? Really quickly. Number one is the car itself. Basically, Haas uses the year-old version of a Ferrari car, right? So the 2024 Haas is the 2023 Ferrari because they take all their parts from Ferrari. That's
Yep,
their model to keep
yep,
costs down. So when you say that Toyota is going to come in and change the aerodynamics, you're saying they're going to work on essentially a year-old Ferrari car.
yep,
Now, how comfortable is Ferrari to show its existing technology to Toyota? Now, you guys might think, oh, but even in a larger space outside F1, they don't really compete with each other. Toyota versus Ferrari, very different brands. Yeah, but they do compete in Le Mans, in
yep.
endurance racing. They're big time competitors, Lexus versus Ferrari in GTs, and
Hmm.
Toyota Gazoo and Ferrari are racing in the hypercars. And the
Yep.
technology, some of them, the design philosophy is kind of similar.
Yeah.
So, how does a company allow that?
Yeah.
And the second point is that Toyota Gazoo Racing is also sponsoring a Formula 2 team now.
Mm,
So how does that impact Haas's influence? Because Oliver Behrman is there as a Ferrari junior driver, and it was
yep.
basically a Ferrari junior team. So now does Ferrari revert back? Ferrari can't go back to Sauber either because they're becoming Audi.
Yep.
So they can't put the young drivers like Leclerc was.
Yeah,
So where does Ferrari put their young drivers?
yeah.
And will we
Ferrari's
get a
got to
Toyota young driver,
they got to really think about where their partnerships are coming from and where their future drivers are coming from, especially when looking at
including sponsorships, bro? No
yeah,
HP, please.
yeah, no HP. Get rid of the HP. I think we'll be all happy about that. So I think we'll
Facts.
end it there. We got a super, super exciting next six races. Championship up for grabs. We got a Ferrari who could come up also. And we got a new driver also. I think this is super, super exciting for F1. And this is gonna be a fun six races. We're gonna be covering it all. And
Yes, sir.
hopefully it's entertaining and maybe we get a new champion. That might be cool.
Oh, and a special mention to my girlfriend Anushri for subscribing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.